Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation.
Donald Trump not mincing words about the new mayor of New York. Ladies and gents, welcome back. Hit that like button on the way in. And if you're new here, my name's Clyde. Welcome to the show. The subscribe button is just down there. Let's get into today's story. New mayor of New York, the first communist Muslim to ever become or be given or be handed over the position of mayor of New York. The times have changed. Holy cow. Have they ever? And a lot of people would ask, are you serious? Is he really a communist? Well, let's just have a look. Let's have a look-see.
What the purpose is about this entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism, the end goal of seizing the means of production.
I am a proud member of Queens DSA, New York City DSA, and the Democratic Socialists of America.
Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
Well, New York won't.
Should billionaires exist?
No.
Are prisons obsolete?
Whew, coming through with the quotes.
Woo! Coming through with quotes. Holy cow. Yeah, this guy, Mamdani, who was just handed the mayoralship of New York City, is a full-blown communist. He's absolutely crazy. Unbelievable, but this is the product of the modern times. This is what happens when you indoctrinate the kids in the schools and we go full blown into the ideas of social. Hey, you know, all those other times they've tried it, totally, they didn't do it right. That's right. It wasn't real communism. We're going to get it right this time. Of course, he was talking about millionaires, billionaires. There are a lot of billionaires out of New York. I think it was the number that Elon Musk quoted on Joe Rogan recently. He said, what is it? 1% of the population pays 50% of the taxes in New York. Well, that's going to end soon. Wow, that is going to be over pretty darn soon in New York, because what's going to happen? Well, it's going to be the flight of the millionaires, the flight of the billionaires. They're going to go after them. Even if Bernie Sanders, one of the most famous socialists, if he happened to be living in New York, I'm sure he'd be leaving right about now. But what did he say? What did he say? He jumped on the stage for his acceptance speech, and he had this to say.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Yay. Well, just throwing this out there. Many Americans that have come to the country have done so and have been leaders. This is gaslighting to an audience that's just prepped for it, but outright denying that, you know, ICE should be able to, you know, operate. And we're talking about immigrants here. Legal immigrants is the process that is encouraged here, not illegal immigrants. We want legal immigrants in the country. Illegal immigrants, well, you're gonna have to take off and do it again. You're gonna have to take off and do it again. Donald Trump not mincing words here in this press conference when he was asked about this last night.
President, Mr. President, your beloved New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
Because that's
no.
what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live
Right.
here. If they moved to North Carolina, you could count it there. So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more on the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. He's, we're going to look at everything, and ideally, he's going to turn out to be much less than a communist. But right now, he's a communist. That's not a socialist. I've always said we will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I said, well, what? They skipped socialism, and you got a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, bad IQ. She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is. And look, so far he's winning. He still has a race to win, but so far he's winning, and he has an advantage as a Democrat in New York City. I was there a long time ago, and it was a long time since a Republican won the city. But you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. And it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times.
Well, that's one of those products of communism. We see that everywhere. Communism raises its ugly head. You want to call it socialism, call it communism, whatever you want to call it. Vladimir Lenin, he was quoted saying, socialism is the goal of socialism is communism. It's the whole idea. It's the whole bringing it about. And what do you get with that? You get this aristocracy that uses banana republic tactics to go after their political enemies. Well, we've seen a lot of that in recent times. Donald Trump being one of the biggest recipients of this kind of behavior. But this is unbelievable. The idea that, well, Donald Trump even suggesting that Mamdani might not even legally be in the United States. Well, we'll find out about that as they look into this guy and they look into what it is that he's planning to do in New York City. But if he wants to thwart a federal operation, ICE agents from coming in, immigration agents coming in and apprehending criminal illegals in the state, well, there's going to be hell to pay. It looks like that's going to be a big thing. Donald Trump saying, well, we don't know if he's going to win. Well, later it turned out he did win. He did actually win the bid, and he is now the mayor-elect of New York City. We're going to see where that goes. Donald Trump obviously having a history in New York City, and so does the Republican Party. You may not remember, but perhaps you remember back in the days when Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York. Yeah, he cleaned the place up unbelievably, got rid of the mob, got rid of crime, got rid of all the stuff that was going on. New York became a safe place for some time. Well, maybe they're going to go the other way for a bit, and people are going to realize that when you elect Democrats, when you elect socialists, it's more crime, it's more poverty, and it's more hatred towards one another, even though they claim to be on the other side of that. The product speaks for itself. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where it's happening. But I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Of course, crazy times. Socialism coming to America's biggest city. Unbelievably. We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.